Welcome to another program of All About Horses TV. Today we're going to be doing some instructional video, and a lot of times we have horses that are very claustrophobic, and we have to help them get through things. Close places is what this is going to be called. You have horse trouble. You have one trouble with a trailer loading, or going through a gate, going to in a stall, going to a pasture gate. Well, horses are naturally claustrophobic and panicaholics, skeptics, and cowards. So what we're doing today is going to teach this horse how to be more confident and how to understand the difference in a leader and a maker, okay? And what we're going to try to do is be the leader for this horse. Now, we have a lot of things set up in here today, and as we go through them, you'll see it's not very elaborate. You don't have to go out and spend a bunch of money to teach horses or work with horses. You can get a piece of plywood or some barrels or some swimmy tubes, or you may have a pedestal, or just use a sheet of plywood. It doesn't matter. The horses don't know the cost of anything, so anything that you can think of to help the horse become more confident, the better you'll be. But don't force your horse, okay? Now this horse, this is Fella, and he's the alpha horse, but he's a scared horse. He's a skeptic. He's a coward. But in the pasture, he's the alpha. So you'll see some things. He'll go through all these obstacles because we've done things with him before. But I just wanted to take him through there and let you see what we do as far as teaching horses to be less claustrophobic and understand you as a leader. Now, one thing that we're going to be doing is you're going to be seeing me do some things. I'm going to be communicating with this horse in his language, okay? So, and what I mean by that, you can't just go right to something. You've got to set up, as Ray Hunt would say, you got to set up today what you're going to do tomorrow. So if I was teaching this horse the first day to do some of these obstacles, we may get one obstacle, or maybe we may get 1.5. If he tries, then we're going to quit and then come back tomorrow and go a little bit farther. But today, I'm going to start sending them through some tight places and over some places. And when I mean claustrophobic, that doesn't mean just in tight places. It can be something overhead. It could be something underneath his feet. It could be a bridge. If you go trail riding and your horse won't go through a covered bridge, well, that's claustrophobic. And being a prey animal, you got to understand the prey animal mentality. You got to understand that they don't like closed-in places. And sometimes a horse, you'll have a horse, and I board horses, and I hear people say, well, my horse won't like a stall. Well, I understand that. I understand why they don't like a stall, because it's a closed-in place. But you can cause that stall to be a comfort spot for them, a safe spot, and then they get where they want to go in. You can cause your horse trailer to be a safe spot, and you can cause them to want to go in. Okay, and I'm using the word cause because I don't want to use the word make. We don't want to make a horse do anything. We want to help him do something. We want to cause him to do something. And we use it cause and allow. Once he tries, you allow him to do it. You don't make him and then let him do it. You allow him to do it. You allow him to make his own decisions, and that will help him become more confident. So as we go through these, I'm going to try to explain what I'm doing. And again, let me say this: if you have any questions, you can get in touch with me on Facebook. You can send me an email, jim@jimswarner.com. Any way you need to get in touch with me, you can come by the stables. We're at KIN Stables in Athens, Alabama, where we're filming this today. So I'm going to go ahead and take Fella through these things, and you're going to see me doing some language. And you have to learn the language to get horses to understand things, okay? You got to help them to understand, but you got to realize their understanding first, okay? So I'm going to go over here, and we're going to do what we call the send through. I'm going to send him through. I got just a piece of plywood laying up there and a cone out here. So I'm just going to send him through there and allow him to go. And then when he goes through, I'm going to ask him to turn and face me, okay? And let him stand there. And you may see the horse stand there for a little bit and lick and chew. So that's kind of what you want him to do. So I'm going to send him through and ask him to turn and face me and stand there, okay? So we're going to go on over, and I have my communication stick here. It's a 4-foot stick and a 6-foot string, and I just asked him to go. I didn't make him, and I'm just allowing him to go. I didn't tell him how fast to go. I want him to go through there, Okay, then I'm gonna ask him to turn and face me right here. I'm just asking the hind quarter to move over, and then I'm gonna bring the front end back across, and then I'm gonna ask him to back up and stand there. So you see his head come up when I ask him something different. We ask three or four things right there at one time. So I'm gonna give him time to think about it here, okay? When I ask him to back up, his head kind of came up, and you've got to recognize those things. You've got to see those things, okay? So you've got to watch everything that the horse is doing. I don't care who is in the room, what's happening, anything. It's you and the horse, and you've got to understand that, okay? So that horse is looking to you for leadership. So you've got to step up and be the leader. Now, leader don't mean you got to be big, boisterous and strong. You just help the horse. That's all we're doing. We're helping horses. Okay, I'm going to ask him to move his front end over here. You see how subtle I did that? Now I'm going to ask him again, move his front end over. Now I'm wiggling the rope to ask him to back up, but I'm holding my communication stick here to ask him to keep his front end over. So that's part of his language. That's what horses, that's how they communicate out in the pasture, okay? So I'm going to ask him to come back through. He wanted to step to me, so I said, no, not there. I asked him to come back through. He tried to check out the cone there. So I'm just going to ask his hind quarter to move over there, and I'm going to push his nose back over. Now you notice I didn't pull anything. I didn't pull his nose. I don't want to pull his nose. I'm going to ask him to back up here. I don't want to pull his nose. I don't want to make him do something. I want to communicate with him to do something. So that's why this rope is just a safety net, okay? And I've had people to contact me and say, well, I want to learn how to play with my horse at Liberty. At Liberty it's just nothing here, nothing between you and the horse except your mental. And this is where it starts, your language. You've got to have a language and a communication to go at Liberty first. And when you get to Liberty, oh man, you start having some fun. Because all it is communication. It's a mental thing, okay? And the next session we record, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, I'm going to bring in one of my other horses that we will play at Liberty, and we may even do the dance for you, okay? So I'm going to ask him to go through again. See how subtle that is? I just pick up my stick. I'm going to move that cone because it's in my way, not his. All right, so I'm just asking the hind quarter to move over, and I'm going to ask the front end to move over and stand there. There, right there. That's universal for stop. Now I'm about 5 feet here, I guess, and I'm going to ask him to come through and go right toward the camera, okay? Now see him hesitate right there? A little bit different because it's tighter here. That's a close spot, but he did make a step to it, so I allowed him to stop, okay? So I'm going to ask him again. There, right there. He tried, so I just quit asking. Once he tried, okay, that's fine. I'm not going to keep going. You hear people doing that all the time. I said, quit doing that. I said, you're teaching the horse to be, you're habituating the horse to that sound. It'll get where it don't mean anything. And they said, what are you talking about? I said, you ever been in somebody's house, got a big grandfather clock, and you hear that clock go tick, 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 tick? Are you there when you hear it chime? And you say, how you stand that clock? And they say, what clock? They've already got habituated to the sound. They don't pay attention to it, just like somebody living next to a railroad track. They don't need to hear it anymore, okay? So don't go with your horse, okay? So I'm going to ask him here again. He's looking at me, so I'm just saying right here, right there. So I just kind of push him right there. I'm allowing him to go now. He said, oh, that's pretty close. I'm right there at the camera. Okay, now I'm going to move his front end over here, okay? And we're going to stop right there because he's gone through it 2 or 3 times. But I wanted you to see that you don't have to force that horse to go through there. If you force a horse to do something, he's not going to want to ever do it again. If you force a horse to get on the horse trailer, well, think about this. That horse is already scared to death, okay? He's afraid because you're getting on that cave-in wheels. So he's got there and he's going, he's probably already sweating on top of his shoulders and behind his ears and on his hip. That's a sign that he's nervous. And if you get a full body sweat, then you do have a problem. But getting a horse to go on the trailer, you've got to make that a friendly spot. So it's causing him to want to go on there. So every time he makes a step to it, you take the pressure off, okay? And we're going to be doing a trailer loading video in the near future when we get some nice weather outside. And I'll be explaining and showing you what I'm talking about, okay? So I said in the beginning, claustrophobic can be something underneath. That's just not a wall, okay? So right here I had 2 walls, me and the board, okay? And you saw when I got real close, he kind of hesitated, but I didn't force him. I said, you better get through there. I didn't do that, okay? That's not how you do it, all right? So now I'm just going, you may have a pedestal, you may not. If you don't have a pedestal, you can lay a piece of plywood on the ground. So I'm just going to ask him to go to the plywood. I ask and allow. He said, I'll stop right here. I said, okay, let's go on across. Okay, and you can see that fella's done these quite a bit. He's pretty confident in doing things like this, but you know it's to shoot a video and show you things that to do. If I brought a horse in here that didn't know any of this stuff, then you couldn't see a finished result, and I wouldn't be able to explain to you what I'm really doing, or actually all the obstacles. I could explain what I was doing with that horse, but it'd be maybe just one obstacle or one thing. But you notice how subtle I am in asking him to do things. I'm gonna see he went to the pedestal, so I'm just gonna allow him. I just extended my arm to allow him to do that. Okay? So I'm gonna talk here to him, move the front end over. He said I gotta get away from it so I can get my foot up there. Right there. So I'll allow him to do that. I'm not going to force him to do that, okay? Now, it's pretty cool stuff when you got a communication with your horse. It's just pretty cool. And once you get that communication, and there you go, buddy. Once you get that communication, that trust, then you can do a lot of things. You can do some things that horse, he says, okay, I trust you not to get me in trouble. And that's all that is. It's a trust thing. It's a bond. It's a relationship, okay? Now, I can play a little bit at liberty with him, but he's the type of horse that he is what we call a right brain extrovert, okay? And what that means is he is a flight mode. I'm out of here. So we can play at liberty for a little bit, but then after, you know, if he gets, you know, in a spot and don't understand, he's gone. He's gone, okay? But I don't do a lot of liberty with him. It's not about that. It's about the communication and understanding, relationship. Horses aren't just for riding, they're for relationships. So, and we're gonna go to these cones here, and I'm gonna send him through and then send him back through, okay? And we're gonna do something that I haven't done with this horse in just a second. I'm gonna ask him to stop, turn his face. See, we're still doing the push through. I'm pushing him through, right there, okay? Now, I'm gonna send him back through, and we're gonna do something. Of course, when you put your horse on the trailer, you gotta back him off, right? So I'm gonna ask him to turn and face me right here. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna ask him to step over, if I can get off my string. Right there. He said, I don't know, I'm gonna knock this one over. So I'm gonna ask him to come to me, and I'm gonna stop right there, okay? So you don't wanna bring him all the way through if you have a problem with a horse backing up in a claustrophobic setting. So I brought him through right there to his front feet, and I'm just going to ask him back up out of the cone, okay? I'm looking at him right in between his eyes, because I'm like another horse now. I got my ears back, my nose stuck out, and ask him to back up right there, okay? Now, he's a little bit claustrophobic to what's behind him. See what his ears are doing? There's licking and chewing. He's looking back there at the barrels. He said, I don't know if I want to go back there to them cow-flavored barrels, okay? So now he's looking at me, so I'm going to ask him to come forward again. And we're going to go just a little ways past there, okay? So what I'm doing here is I'm setting him up to come all the way through and then back through the cones, okay? So I'm doing a little bit at a time. I'm just chipping off a little bit, just chip, 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 okay? Now he saw my energy come up and the head came up and he said, okay, I got to back up. So he started to think about backing up before I asked him. Okay? And it's because my body language came up. Now I'm relaxed. Now I'm going to ask him to come back through. And he may back through there after I come all the way through, and he may not. But if he doesn't, then that's something we'll have to work on. Right there. I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to let him settle. Now that right hip stepped over to his right, my left. So he may go through and he may not. So I'm just asking here slowly. Okay? I didn't force him. If I'd got big and forced him, he may have kicked that butt out and went another way. But I set it up by his feet, his body, his hind feet, and then all the way through. So that's how you do things like that. Horses learn through association. So you do things that he understands, and if you're working with something that he doesn't understand, then you go back to something he understands. You don't leave that horse at that spot. Okay? All right, come on, fella. There we go. Good. All right. So he did it once. I'm not going to go back and do it again, okay? Because that was something new that he's learned. That's something that he'd never done before, back through those cones. So I'm not going to ask him again because it may mess up, and then I got to spend another 2 hours getting what I got in the first 15 minutes, okay? So humans are the ones that say, let's do it again, let's do it again, let's do it again. Horses, they don't, we don't want to do that again. He did it right the first time, so we don't do it again. So now, another thing, we got these swimmy tubes that if he steps on them, they make noise. If he bumps them, if I drag the rope on them, they make noise. So this is another thing that you can do, just like that, okay? Then you can disengage, push the front end over, all right, come back through. So it's not anything elaborate that you have to do. One moved, okay, good. It's not anything elaborate that you have to do. You just have to help the horses understand what you're asking. But first, you got to set that language up, okay? You got to help that horse understand what you're asking, but you got to understand the horse first, okay? Whenever you're with horses, you never stop speaking horse. Never stop, because you're in their world. They're not going to stop saying, "Hey, what are you doing?" Okay? They're just not. You got to set up their world, all right? So now I'm focusing on what I'm going to do next, okay? So I'm going to ask him to go through the barrels and turn and face me, and there we go. He said, I don't know, we got lights and cameras and action going on over here. Now he's showing you something. He said, I may be an alpha horse, but I am a skeptic, a coward, a panic-aholic, and claustrophobic, okay? So that's all he's showing me now. So, okay, we're just going to work with it. So I brought him away. I'm pushing the front end over there. He said, I don't know. All right, now I'm just going to push him through. There, I'll allow him to do that. I'll allow him to do that. So now I'm just going to turn in the direction he's traveling. He's asking me a question. He's like, you really want me to go through there? Yeah, I do. So I'm going to push him here. I'm pushing behind the drive line. Okay, now he's confused, so I'm going to quit. He's confused. He's moving his hind quarter over. So it's okay, you're doing fine. It's no big deal. If we don't get it, we don't get it. If we get it, we get it. And if we don't get it, we'll do it again another time, okay? It's not that big a deal. It's not that I need him to go through that barrel. It's that we're having a communication and he's not understanding what I'm saying, or I'm not saying where he can understand it, okay? That makes sense? He needs to understand what I'm asking here, okay? And I need to ask it in a way that he does understand. So I'm going to push him here. I'm going to push him here. There. Right there. I'm going to allow him to go. Then I'm going to ask him to turn his face right here, okay? He got to the end of the rope. I didn't pull it. It just got to the end of it. Now I'm going to ask him to come through here. Right here. Now he had trouble going through it forward, so we're going to stop right here. Oh, all right there. So, and now I'm going to ask him to back out halfway because it's halfway through there. So that would be halfway, wouldn't it? Now he's licking and chewing. He's thinking about it. I'm just asking him to back up. There. Now I'm going to allow him to stand there. Now his eyes just got brighter. He said, I got it. His eyes just got brighter. His ears started flipping around. He switched his tail. He's just kind of looking. He's thinking right now. And I'm not putting any pressure on him. I'm just kind of standing sideways to him, and there's his head going down. He said, okay, I got this. All right? So now I'm going to ask him to come back through. I'm going to ask him to stop, turn his face. Okay? Move your front end around. You see the language that I'm using? Moving his front end, his hind end, asking him to stop and back up. I'm looking at him right now. I'm talking to him the whole time. And I do a lot of high school and kid stuff with horses. And I ask them a lot of times, how many can speak more than one language or speak two languages? And of course, they'll raise their hand. I said, so can I. I'm bilingual. I said, but the difference between me and you, I can speak both of them at the same time, as I've been doing during this shooting. I've been talking horse and human, or English, okay? So I'm going to ask him to put his hind feet up there, okay? There, and stop, okay? So there's the end of the trail pose, okay? So you've seen what we did, some of the things we've done. You don't have to be elaborate, okay? And just have fun with it. The whole time I was talking and just communicating with him and flowing, and he was listening to me with my body language, okay? So if you got trouble, you got a horse that won't get in a trailer, like I said, we're gonna be doing one of those in the next few weeks when we got some good weather outside. Or we may break back the trailer in here and do it. But anyway, I just want you to see that if you got a horse that's claustrophobic, afraid of tight spaces, take your time with it. Take your time in getting it to go through places. Back it through. Don't get real big. Just kind of go with the flow. Okay. Now he didn't start this way. We just, it took some time when I first got him to do some things, but you see perseverance, consistency, talking, teaching in the same manner. We don't train horses, we teach horses, we teach students. So if you got problems or with things and would like to help your horse, well, we're here. You can get in touch with us and we can help you do things with your horse or play at liberty or trailer loading, anything like that. So anyway, I thank you for tuning in today, and y'all tune in again next time for All About Horses TV.